Meghan, well, being completely ignored by Dame Kristin Scott.
Kristin Scott Thomas never even glances up. No smile, no polite nod, not even the faintest shift in her posture to acknowledge Meghan's presence. And then, the moment that left the entire front row stunned, Kristen turns her body away completely, her back now to Meghan. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a missed cue. It was deliberate. And it happened under the blinding lights of Paris Fashion Week at Balenciaga's Fall 2024 show, in front of the world's cameras. In just 3 seconds of silence, Meghan Markle's carefully planned comeback unraveled before everyone's eyes.
When you're an international laughingstock and everyone sees what you are except for a thick prince who is obsessed with his mother, who you continue to unearth and rub in his face. Oh my god, that came out wrong in so many ways. But yeah, Meghan was it's Dame Kristin Scott, I want to talk to her.
Something remarkable and rather uncomfortable just unfolded at Paris Fashion Week. Meghan Markle, radiant and camera-ready, walked into Balenciaga's Fall 2024 show expecting a triumphant rebrand, a fresh start after a series of missteps. But what followed was anything but a comeback. After the Spotify fallout, where an executive openly labeled Meghan and Harry as grifters, and after Netflix projects that fizzled, she seemed determined to reclaim her place among the elite. Paris, she must have thought, would be her moment. But it wasn't. Not even close. What happened inside that show, under the soft lights and sharp gazes of Europe's fashion aristocracy, became a quiet yet unmistakable rejection. The kind of elegant dismissal only high society can deliver. Silent, polite, but absolutely final. Let's set the scene. Paris Fashion Week. Balenciaga's Fall 2024 showcase, one of the most exclusive events of the season. Every seat filled with the world's most powerful names in fashion, film, and royalty. And there, in the front row, sat Meghan Markle, hoping to be seen, and perhaps finally accepted.
And she was absolutely ignoring her, like Meghan does not exist. You see that Meghan was doing, what kind of face is that? Let me see if I can...
For Meghan, this wasn't just another fashion show. It was strategy, a calculated attempt to reclaim her place in the cultural spotlight. After stepping away from the royal family, after that explosive Oprah interview, and after the unrelenting criticism from both the British press and her own relatives, Meghan has been trying, sometimes frantically, to rebrand herself as a global tastemaker, a woman of influence, a symbol of modern elegance. But the results have been far from what she hoped. Spotify ended their partnership, with one executive publicly calling her and Harry grifters who failed to deliver. Netflix, too, is reportedly disappointed with the lack of follow-through. And in Hollywood, once quick to embrace her, the calls have grown noticeably quieter. So Paris Fashion Week was meant to change that. This was her chance to remind the world she still mattered, that she wasn't just an ex-royal tucked away in Montecito, but a woman of relevance, of substance, of style. She arrived immaculate, the dress, the hair, the poise, all perfection. The cameras were ready, the front row seat secured. Every detail was in place for her grand reintroduction. And then came the moment, a fleeting exchange that changed everything. Meghan turned to speak with Dame Kristin Scott Thomas, the very embodiment of European grace. What happened next, caught on camera and replayed around the world, told a story more devastating than words ever could.
Meghan Markle made her Paris Fashion Week debut, and there was this awkward interaction with the Balenciaga creative director. Let's look at this.
Would you mind taking my phone? Thank you.
And then, it gets even more uncomfortable. Meghan takes her seat and notices Dame Kristin Scott Thomas just a few chairs away. To understand the weight of that moment, you have to know who Kristen is, an icon of British and French cinema, an Academy Award nominee, a woman whose career spans decades of artistry, discretion, and quiet elegance. She embodies everything European high society still treasures: restraint, class, and authenticity. At first, things go smoothly. Meghan shares a brief, polite exchange with director Baz Luhrmann. Light laughter, smiles, the kind of easy small talk you'd expect at a fashion show. It seems to settle her nerves. Encouraged, she turns toward Kristen. And that's where everything unravels. Meghan leans in, her trademark smile bright and eager, hand placed gently over her chest, that familiar gesture meant to signal warmth and sincerity. But Kristen doesn't respond. Her shoulders remain perfectly still, angled away. Her attention never wavers from the person she's already speaking to. Not even a glance. Not even a flicker of acknowledgement. The silence is deafening. Meghan stays poised, still smiling, still hoping for a connection that never comes. And then, the moment that seals it. Kristen shifts her entire body, turning further away, creating a literal wall of elegant indifference. It's deliberate, controlled, devastatingly final. Meghan is left frozen in place, smiling into the void, hands still pressed to her heart. The cameras catch every second. And within hours, that 3-second exchange was everywhere, dissected, replayed, and analysed frame by frame.
So cringe to watch, isn't it?
Very.
So awkward. But fans are slamming Meghan for this, calling her the Duchess of Hypocrisy for attending Balenciaga's show, seeing as there was a lot of controversy around this brand and an ad that was seen as quite creepy that involved children.
So the ads were very creepy. They were offensive, actually, more than creepy, I think. And they were children posing with teddy bears in bondage gear. And Balenciaga's brand was in the toilet almost overnight, really.
Now, you might think, perhaps Kristen simply didn't see her. Maybe the music was too loud, or the crowd too dense. But that explanation doesn't hold up once you understand the context, and why this moment became so talked about. First, the setting. This took place at Balenciaga's show, the very same brand that, just months earlier, faced global outrage over a deeply controversial ad campaign involving children and disturbing imagery. The backlash was immense. Celebrities cut ties, fashion editors condemned it, and social media turned fierce. And yet, there was Meghan Markle, front and center. For someone who's built her public image around compassion, motherhood, and social awareness, it was a questionable choice. Critics immediately seized on the contradiction. If you champion humanitarian causes and child advocacy, how do you then align yourself with a brand under that kind of scrutiny? It sent a mixed message, and people noticed. Then came the snub. And it wasn't just about manners, it was about status. Dame Kristin Scott Thomas embodies the kind of credibility Meghan has been chasing. Quiet dignity, genuine artistry, and the kind of respect that can't be staged or bought. Kristen has nothing to prove and nothing to gain by acknowledging Meghan. That, in itself, speaks volumes. In European high society, attention is currency, and silence is its sharpest form of rejection. The internet, of course, erupted. Within hours, the clip spread across every social platform, dissected from every angle. One tweet captured the tone perfectly. Meghan's desperate need for validation just collided with the brick wall of earned respect. Another crowned Kristen the queen of quiet shade. Body language experts joined in too, noting how Meghan's smile seemed strained, how her hand-to-chest gesture felt more performative than genuine, and how she lingered just a second too long, trying to recover a moment that was already gone. Meanwhile, Kristen's posture was praised as a masterclass in polite dismissal. No words, no scene, just a subtle, deliberate refusal to engage. By nightfall, Meghan Markle was trending worldwide, and the conversation wasn't flattering. Comment sections filled with reminders of other awkward encounters, other attempts at connection that didn't land. For many, this wasn't just another viral moment. It was a symbol of how far Meghan's image has drifted from the authenticity she once tried to claim. Of course, this wasn't the first time Meghan Markle found herself on the wrong side of a social moment. There's a pattern, one that's become impossible to ignore. Remember the Lion King premiere? Meghan approached Beyoncé and Jay-Z with that familiar warmth, hoping for an easy, glamorous exchange. But the energy never quite matched. Beyoncé's response was polite but distant, professional, even cool, and the conversation ended almost as quickly as it began. Or Wimbledon, where Meghan's security team reportedly asked spectators not to take photos, as though a public tennis match were a private royal engagement. The move left other guests uneasy, even irritated. It was one of several moments that painted Meghan as out of sync with the world she's trying to fit into. Then came the whispers from Hollywood, stories of invitations that never came, parties where she and Harry were present but not embraced. Insiders began to describe them as social climbers, always reaching for the next rung but never quite belonging. Add to that the professional setbacks, Spotify cutting ties and calling their partnership unproductive, Netflix quietly losing enthusiasm, and a string of business ventures that make headlines but never seem to materialize. When you look at it all together, the pattern is striking. Meghan continues to position herself within elite spaces, the royals, the Hollywood A-list, the European fashion world, but those very circles consistently keep her at arm's length. And Paris Fashion Week, with Dame Kristin Scott Thomas's elegant dismissal, seemed to crystallize that truth. Because in those rarefied worlds, acceptance isn't about charm or publicity. It's about authenticity. It's about substance, restraint, and the quiet confidence of people who don't need to prove their importance. Meghan's problem is that every gesture feels measured, every smile rehearsed, every appearance staged for the perfect photograph rather than genuine connection. And people who live in those circles, who've spent decades navigating them with poise and understatement, can sense that kind of performance instantly. They see it, they feel it, and they simply turn away. The Balenciaga appearance was supposed to be Meghan's moment, proof that she still held fashion credibility, that she could sit front row among legends and belong. But instead, it revealed something far more uncomfortable. Even when Meghan has the seat, even when she's in the room, she's still on the outside looking in. Brands are noticing. They see that associating with her doesn't bring prestige, it brings controversy. Instead of elevating a label, her presence raises questions, invites criticism, and stirs unease. And Hollywood is watching, 2. The industry that once embraced her now sees a woman who walked away from the royal family promising purpose and ended up chasing celebrity status and missing it every time. Which brings us back to Dame Kristin Scott Thomas, the quiet hero of this story. Her response wasn't loud, cruel, or dramatic. It was measured, graceful, and perfectly clear. She didn't need to explain herself. She didn't need to make a scene. In that brief turn of her shoulders, she delivered a masterclass in composure, a reminder of what real power looks like. Real power doesn't chase. Real power doesn't perform. Real power simply is, and decides who is worth acknowledgement. By turning away from Meghan, Kristen sent a message that resonated far beyond that Paris runway, that titles, fame, and followers mean nothing without substance, credibility, and time-earned respect. Meghan has the spotlight, yes, but she doesn't have the standing. Her post-royal life has become a visual metaphor for this moment, smiling, performing, hoping to belong, while those who actually belong simply turn away. So, Gossip Slice fam, Meghan Markle went to Paris expecting a comeback and left with one of the most elegant public rejections in recent celebrity history. Dame Kristin Scott Thomas didn't say a word, yet she said everything. Sparkles, before you go, don't forget to subscribe to New Things, where we uncover the truth behind every headline, one slice at a time. If you love smart celebrity commentary, real analysis, and stories that go deeper than the surface, hit that subscribe button and join our community. Because at Gossip Slice, we don't chase the drama, we explain it.